Hey guys, I wanted to talk about some interactions and being creative in like combat or even um, like role playing aspects of the game where it's very can be bogged down and be very boring or even frustrating sometimes. Example being, I was once playing in a group. It was my first time and only time playing with this group, and I was rolling really badly, and I was just getting kind of frustrated. I think I was playing either a fighter or rogue. I can't even remember exactly the class, but every time I would use my weapon, it just didn't work. And basically, the bad guys or the enemies were on top of this, I would say almost like man-made incline, but what they were, I think they were skeletons, like on top of this thing. Um, what they were standing on was old bones and old weapons and armor and stuff like that. Just a huge mount of this stuff, and we were down below. They were shooting arrows down at us, and I was kind of getting frustrated. So I made the suggestion. Well, they're standing on this mount. I'm sucking at my attack rolls tonight for whatever reason. Can I just start like digging some of this out? And maybe we can kind of start like almost an avalanche type thing. Instantly, the group looked at me like I was weird and like, wait, what? And it got shot down. So at that point, I was just like, I'm done. I'll just continue my boring attack rolls until it's time to leave. Didn't really play with that group again. And when you're doing these combat scenarios, um, I want to talk about how to be creative. Um, the first key thing is think and listen. Really listen to what the DM's describing to you. Sometimes on these maps that we draw out, we're just improving. It's like a combat that necessarily we didn't plan, so we don't have this beautiful map out laid out. So we just basically draw out the bare necessities. But listen to what the DM's describing to you. He might, for the table, write down or draw out just a rectangle. But when he described it, there's food, there is, you know, plateware, silverware, there's drinks and stuff on this table. And say, for example, a bar fight starts out. Okay, you threw your dagger, that's your only weapon. Okay, let's just say you threw your couple daggers, you're a rogue or whatnot, and you lost your weapons. Yes, I'm the type of DM that you lose your weapon, throwing it or whatnot, you don't have it on you. You don't magically have it set back unless it has a magical weapon. Um, but now you've got this guy in front of you and you have no weapons. Improv. Think about it. Even though on that drawing of the table it's just a rectangle, you heard the DM describe this plates of food and silverware and whatnot. Well, there's scalding hot food that just came onto the table. Pick it up, throw it in the face, or splash, alcohol in the face. It might not do this mass damage, but it might hinder or cause prone to the bad guy because he's wiping it off, or he might done damage because now he's got a burnt face. It might not be intense, but it's creative. It's logical. Um, you might flip the whole entire table because he's standing on the other side. Like, just think about what's being described by the DM and use it. That's the whole point of D&D is, and what draws people to D&D is you can do whatever you want in the game. Some people tend to forget that. They get bogged down to, oh, this is my attack and this is my bonus feature, so I'll just do this. It's like hitting A on the controller, just A. No, that's not what the game is about. Be creative. Throw it up in the face. Also, a lot of times I know for me, I like to use these like really well drawn out maps and stuff. And I am not the best drawer. I'm trying to work on it, but I'm not really the best drawer. So I'll use these. I might not describe to a T everything in here, but if my players are using this map and we're playing on this map in combat, and I might not describe to them this little puddle here of liquid, okay? I'm not going to tell the players, oh no, you can't kick up water, on them, or no to the, magic user, you can't manipulate it and turn it into a patch of ice to cause them to slip. Or no, you're not going to break apart that chair and start using it as an improv weapon or hindering being creative. Use what's in the maps. I mean, these maps are so drawn so well with all these artistic, images. We tend to forget that they're there. Sometimes there is even stuff on here. So like say if we're going through and doing a desert thing, on here, I don't know if you can see it, but drawn on here is old broken down arrows. My players want to, or in this case on this side, it's a broken down wagon on side of a road. If my players want to pick up the rocks or use the wagon wheel on that side, I'm not going to tell them no. I'm not going to stop their creativity. We're going to do it where it's logical and, if this giant boulder, no, obviously you can't just pick and hold it. You got to be logical. It's got to be team effort, maybe rolling down a hill with all 5 of you guys getting underneath there pushing it. There's going to be skill checks involved, and my magic user might not be the one that's actually going to break down that chair. You're going to have the fighter, specializing in strength and all to do it. But I'm not going to hinder their creativity. You want to be creative. You want to be, thinking outside the box. I mean, it even goes past what is on the maps or drawn on the table or even what the DM describes. I mean, think about what you have on you, okay? So, you guys are in a room where you're above on like a platform and you're looking down below at this room and you're in this like hidden tunnel in this dungeon and you're looking below, okay? And you see something that you got to grab and try to get into it. Well, let's see, I have 50-foot rope. Okay, so maybe we can use this 50-foot rope to, tie up something to get down there. Well, let's see. The rogue's got a crowbar, the fighter's got rope. Let's put them together, throw it down, and get it. Like, think about the items you have. Don't think just, oh, I'm a fighter, I have a sword and a shield. No, really think when you're doing and buying your weapons and your items. Think sometimes outside that box. I mean, you want to be creative in this, teamwork wise. Put with what you have. That's the whole point of you having items, not just weapons, is put together the other stuff that you have and use that crowbar to hook up that item that you're trying to snag from 20 feet up in the air. Just be creative. I mean, for example, you have a guy who's trying to run away and there's not really much that you can do to stop them besides for potentially losing your weapon if you throw your weapon, or potentially seriously hurting him when you're just trying to catch him and maybe knock him out. Again, using the rope scenario. Grab your rope. What's the heaviest, hardest thing that you have? Maybe throw it using the rope and just trying to knock him out. Like, just try to think outside the box is my thing. Okay? Be creative. Don't just stay in this bogged down of I have to attack type mode. It's not a video game. It's a world. You're exploring and interacting with it. That table is not nailed down. Though we come from so many players who've coming from the video game world of like the Elder Scrolls series. You go into those scenarios and those dungeons and stuff and they have tables and they have chairs and you can't move. You can't flip the table. You can't do nothing. You can't even half the time walk onto the table. Um, that's not how this game works. This game works is it's like the real world. You can use items, you can manipulate things and use them to your advantage. So be creative and do it. It will make the game so much better and so much entertaining, and there's so much more exploring. It's just takes that level of the game just up a notch. So don't get bogged down of, oh, this is all I have is a sword and a shield, and no, get in there and start causing that avalanche of stuff. So just something for you guys to think about.